Yo, what's going on, man? Today is January the 25th, 2023. This is Casted with Chris, the NBA betting show slash podcast brought to you guys, as always, by the Basketball Forever Podcast Network. We had a pretty good day yesterday, man. Today's the 25th. Yesterday, I gave out the Cleveland Cavaliers team total to go over against the New York Knicks last night. It was 111 and a half, 112 and a half. They failed to reach that number. Knicks actually showed up and played defense. The Cavs continue to struggle after a loss. After a win. So they didn't play well yesterday in the Garden. Revenge spot for them. Donovan Mitchell first came back, shot the ball pretty terribly. They couldn't score the ball. Julius Randle. Shout out to that guy. He should be an all-star this year. Put the team on his back yesterday. Played really good basketball. Hit a clutch three down towards the end of the game. Cavs offense just continues to struggle after a win or on the road. And on the road after a win is when they typically struggle the most. Donovan Mitchell being reinserted into the lineup didn't help yesterday. So we failed. That one didn't happen. But we did cast the Jared Allen rebound ladder, which was extremely profitable for us. 8.5 rebounds last night for Jared Allen was minus 124. I talked about laddering. So 10 was, I think, plus 120. And then 12 was plus 270. 14 small sprinkle there was plus 600, I think. He finished with 12 rebounds. So I know a lot of people took the double from the crispy cap and NBA show yesterday. Some people also took the just did what I did and laddered his rebound. So successful game there. And then the other play that I was doing was Spencer Dinwiddie. Shout out to my guy Mitch. We talked about that one yesterday. Revenge game for Spencer Dinwiddie against the old team that he does not like in the Washington Wizards. And you see them come out and attempt to fight hard, but the Wizards did win that game last night. Mavs just not playing a lot of defense right now. But Spencer Dinwiddie, neither here nor there, he did cash the point prop. So pretty successful day for us yesterday overall. Let's see if we can keep it moving forward to today. So got a few games I want to talk about, some early lines as well. We don't have a lot. Of course, it's 7 a.m. on the East Coast, but a couple things that I, just kind of looking at matchups that I kind of circled last night. So first game up, and you guys hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the podcast if you guys haven't already. On YouTube and download the pod. Check out the pod. Leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. And let's get into the slate for today. So first game up I want to talk about is this Magic and Pacers game. So Pacers coming off a really inspiring win last night. This team scored a bunch of points last night in the second half of that game against Chicago. Chicago, for the people who didn't watch that game, Chicago jumped out early on them, like real early, jumped out on them, and they had to fight back last night. I think the Indiana Pacers scored 70 points in the second half to win that game by 6 yesterday. So I do expect the letdown spot. They'll still be without Tyrese Halliburton in this game. It was a spot where the Bulls, we kind of talked about it. You had to fade the Bulls sooner or later, second night of a back-to-back with travel from Chicago to Indiana. Now Indiana's the team that's traveling from Indiana to Orlando. So I think you fade the Indiana Pacers in this spot tonight. The way I'm looking to play this game, so Orlando, they are 5-5 in their last 10 games straight up, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games as well. This team is 15-9 at home. They don't typically play too well as a home favorite. They're laying 4.5 points in this. Well, it opened at 4.5 or 5, and it's down to 4.5 right now. And I like Orlando in this spot. Their team total, I don't see that it came out yet. But when I was capping this game last night, first thing that jumped out to me is Orlando taking their team total over. I think it's probably going to be 118.5. Is if you do the math, then that's the number that you get. I'm not necessarily probably going to get there with the spread, but I talk about team totals to kind of avoid the spread. I think the Pacers will run out of gas in this one, similar to the way that the Chicago Bulls ran out of gas last night. So I like the Orlando Magic team total over. One of the things that I looked at last night was teams coming off a home win, and then they're away dogs in their next game with no rest. Those teams are allowing their opponent to go over their team total in 11 of 18 tries. So 11 divided by 18, you guys could do the math. That's a pretty nice hit rate. And I think, I think the Magic can kind of keep it going. That's 61%. Also, you look at the Pacers, they're 22nd defensively last 5 games. The Magic have been a home favorite just once this season where their opponent was on the second night of a back-to-back. It was against the Spurs earlier this year, and they beat them 133-113. So they covered the team total. They also covered the spread in that spot as well. So I like the Orlando Magic to be able to score points in this game against the Indiana Pacers team that has to travel from Indiana, and Orlando just kind of waiting for him, coming off the big win against the Boston Celtics and getting healthy right now too. So give me the Orlando Magic team total over 118.5 in that game. Also, I think I'm not sure if it's out yet, but what I wrote down in my notes is Wendell Carter Jr. Looking at his rebounds, I expect the Indiana Pacers to miss a lot of shots. Let's see if we have that access to that. So Wendell Carter Jr. rebounds, actually, I don't see it listed on my sports book, but his rebounds probably going to be about 8.5, and that's what it typically has been. So second night of a back-to-back would travel for the Pacers, like I talked about already, which typically leads to a lot of missed shots. He's over in 5 of his last 6 games is Wendell Carter Jr. if his rebounds comes out at 8.5, which is what the line has typically been sitting at. Indiana allowing the 3rd most rebounds to centers on the season, 12th most to centers over the last 7 games. And you look at Wendell Carter Jr. matchup against this team, he typically dominates the glass real quick. I'll bring that up so you guys can see it. Wendell Carter Jr. game log versus the Pacers specifically. I'm going to share my screen and show this to you guys if you guys are watching on YouTube. Not quite sure what it is, but he dominates the rebounds. You guys can see 18, 12, 18, 13, 9, 9, right? So if it comes out at 8.5, I think it's I think it's a nice spot. The Orlando Magic can be a difficult team to to cap far as prop wise because they are healthy. They have they have a pretty deep rotation. A lot of these guys get a lot of minutes. So I'm looking at Wendell Carter Jr. rebounds in this spot. And I'm also looking at the Orlando Magic team total to go over. So that's what I got for you guys in that game. This Nets versus Sixers game, both teams kind of traveling on the East Coast, on the West Coast, and now finally back on the East Coast. This is the last game for Brooklyn on the road trip. They just beat the Golden State Warriors as dogs on Sunday, 5-5 in their last 10 straight up, just 4-6 against the spread. We know that they struggled out the gate without KD. Before getting, a couple quality wins against the Utah Jazz, and then, like I said, against the Golden State Warriors. Philly, hottest team in the NBA. You could say 8-2 straight up in their last 10, 5-5 against the spread. This will be their first game back home as well after a 5-game road trip. They got the win against Sacramento. They won every game on that road trip. Typically, East Coast teams don't go on the road and play that well. They beat the Utah Jazz, they beat the Lakers, then the Clippers, they beat the Portland Trail Blazers, and they beat the Sacramento Kings without James Harden and Joel Embiid, who both decided to rest in that game. Now they come back home, and most of the books don't even have a lineup yet. But I saw that 5.5 total. I got as a question mark right now. I think the total, it looks like the total is going to be about 233 points. And it's a difficult game to cap as far as who. Like it's an ESPN game as well, right? It's a game where Ben Simmons has to go back to Philadelphia, and I'm looking at Ben Simmons specifically, man. I think just looking at Ben Simmons, this guy has continued to just not want to shoot the ball. I don't think that anything changes in this game. With them going back home, he's just unaggressive, man. I took him in the second game to to get his points prop at 10 when they had it set at 8.5. And he, it was like pulling teeth just to get that. So, Ben Simmons points is at 8.5. Real quick, I just want to show you guys, just for the people watching on YouTube, I want to show you guys what I'm looking at. Personal play the other day, I did take Ben Simmons against Golden State, his under PRA. It was 21.5. And you guys can see right here, he finished with 7-3 and 11. 7-3 is 10 plus 11. is 21. So it cashed, right? This was a fast-paced game against the Golden State Warriors. Game played at extremely fast pace. Total went over. I can't remember exactly how many points were scored. 236 points were scored. So now, you get a total that's going to be a little bit lower. And the pace is probably going to be a little bit slower. We know that the Philadelphia 76ers play at one of the slower paces in the league. So I'm looking at Ben Simmons, man. His points right now are at 8.5 is plus money. His rebounds are at 7.5 minus 113. And you look at his assists, they're 7.5 as well. If you look at his whole PRA, points, rebounds, and assists, it's 23.5. You guys can take a look here. I just told you 21 is what he had. 9 plus 6 against Utah. Plus 5 is 15. That's 20. And then you got 10 plus 7, 17. So 4 straight games, he has not hit this PRA line. I think there's some value to taking Ben Simmons under his 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists today. I know he's back in Philly. To me, that doesn't push the needle because it doesn't push the needle for him, right? So give me Ben Simmons under his 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists to kind of stay away from a side. Unless he, wants to be motivated for this game. If he does, that's totally fine. But I'm cool with that. If that's how it plays out. So no real look on the side. I got some more work to do, but I do like Ben Simmons to go under his 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists in this game. Wizards versus the Rockets is the next game I want to touch on really quickly. So Wizards coming off the win last night. They did go to Dallas. They're playing the little Texas triangle where they got the Mavs, then the Rockets, and then they'll play the Spurs. Coming off an impressive win last night, man. I saw the spread open up at 3 points in favor of the Wizards in this game. So they'd be 3-point favorites on the road, not at home or, as a dog on the road. This team's actually favored. And the Rockets, typically a home dog at home. You look at the Rockets, the Wizards coming off the impressive win last night. They are 5-5 in their last 10. Typically a pretty, difficult team to kind of gauge. They did just trade Rui Hachimura. You see Porzingis didn't play in that game last night. I'm not 100% sure that he plays in this game tonight. I want to say he's already ruled out, but let's see. Yeah, I don't think he's going to play in this game. You do got Jabari Smith Jr. listed as questionable on the Rocket side. But the way I look at this game is you look at the Wizards. This team is maybe they turned the corner, right? They are 3-0 against the spread and straight up since Bradley Beal returned. Those 3 wins came against the New York Knicks. The first one came against the New York Knicks. They also beat the Dallas Mavericks, of course, and covered that spread. And they beat the Orlando Magic in there as well. Orlando was on the second night of a back-to-back with travel. But one thing we know about the Houston Rockets team, man, they not gonna show up like that all the time. So, they are coming. The Houston Rockets are coming off, a pretty impressive win against the Minnesota Timberwolves in one of those kind of back-to-back type situations. They beat them 119-114. So, Wizards 3-0 against the spread and straight up since Bradley Beal returned. Like I said, they're also 6-2 against the spread playing on the second night of a back-to-back. Impressive. And 3-0 against the spread on the second leg of a back-to-back when they're on the road as well. So I like the Wizards laying the small number here. Got some more research to do on it, but I would look at the Wizards. I would look at the Wizards to cover the spread against the Rockets. I would also look at Alfred Sengun props. I don't know if the number is out yet. Let's see. Sengun. Yeah, 17.5 points. I like it, man. I like Sengun a lot. So you look at the Wizards, they're allowing the 4th most points to centers on the season. I mean, they got Daniel Gafford down there. Not a lot of size. Teams that have a big man that, that run the offense through them typically do well. You don't see that, of course, with the Dallas Mavericks because they just got Luka out there. They don't have a big man that they can get the ball to. But I do think, Alfred Sengun coming off a big game as well against the Minnesota Timberwolves, back-to-back big games. Kevin Porter Jr., I think, should still be out in this game. And they've been kind of running, for the people who don't know, the Houston Rockets have been running their offense through Sengun. So it feels to me like a spot where Sengun plays well, especially if Jabari Smith Jr. is out again. So I'll be looking at Sengun props. I also think that the Wizards can cover a small spread. That's what I got for you guys there. Next game I want to talk about, and the last game I want to talk about, trying to make the pot a little bit quicker, is the Raptors and the Kings game. So This is one of the late night games, West Coast game. The Raptors are traveling to Sacramento. Look like they're catching. I got 4 on the screen, but it's 4 at some places. It's 3.5 at other places. Uh, Raptors only 21-27 on the season. You look at the Kings, they're 27-19 on the season, 13-2-1 against the spread at home, and 7-3 last 10, 6-3-1 against the spread their last 10. Toronto been kind of fluctuating up and down. They're still dealing with injuries. I think OG Anunoby is going to return for this game, which will help them out defensively a lot. It'll help them out offensively, but it'll definitely help them out defensively. Looks like a clean injury report for the Kings minus Chimizi Metu listed as questionable. I don't think he's going to play, but I know he underwent an MRI. I think it was yesterday. So I'm looking at this game, man. The first thing that kind of jumps out to me is Sabonis, right? So Sabonis, his rebounds, I'm not sure if the props are listed because this is a late game. I'm not sure if it's listed already or not. But Sabonis rebounds, the first thing that kind of jump out to me. It is listed. It's 13.5. I like the over for Sabonis. I think combining Sabonis rebounds plus assists is also in play. But Sabonis rebounds specifically, he's the point forward for this team. You look at his rebounds plus assists is 21.5. Dude's been absolutely crushing this number. We know that they run their offense similar to the way that the Denver Nuggets do with Jokic. Just rebounds the ball really, really well. You look at his rebounds. He has the 13.5 or 14 that he needs in this game. He's over in 4 of his last 6 games. He had the 20 rebounds against this team earlier in the season, and the Raptors just giving up a ton of rebounds to the opposing big men. Not 100% sure why, but Julius Randle's coming off a game where he had 19 rebounds, and the list if you go back and look, one of the things that we've been cashing on, in the Crispy Cap and NBA show in the evening time is taking the opposing big man, whether it's a power forward or center, to get their rebounds, to clear their rebound line. I know 13.5 is a lot of rebounds, but I do expect the Kings to the Raptors to miss a bunch of shots and Sabonis to go crazy on the rebounds. I think you could parlay his rebounds. You could take the combo and take his rebounds plus assists because the Raptors defense doesn't play as well on the road. And like I said, they will run a lot of the offense through them. Also interested in playing the Kings, man. I think I'm gonna wait for the number. Don't want to play it too early, but I do like the Kings in this spot as well. You look at the Kings. This team is 8-3 against the spread when they've beaten their opponent already this season, including 3 straight covers. So they've done well in that bounce back spot. The Kings are also the 3rd best team in the Western Conference for the people who aren't really tracking the standings. Also, you look at these high totals on the season for the Raptors in road games. They're 0-4 against the spread and straight up when on the road, when the total is set at 226 or higher. Also 3-11 against the spread when on the road when the total was 219 or higher. So the Raptors don't play well when they have these really, really high totals on the road. The Kings are also 4-0-1 against the spread their last 5 games following an ATS win, and 4-0-1 against the spread their last 5 games versus a team with the losing road record. And the Raptors do have a losing road record. So one thing I want to show real quick right before I end the show is I want to show you guys that. So I'm gonna share my screen and pull that up for you guys before I get out of here. So I'm looking at the Raptors specifically on the road with a really high total. So team equals Raptors and on the road. And I just want let's see, season equals 2022. So just these totals, right? So here we go. The Raptors, this is the highest total they've ever had on the road so far this season. You guys can see 238 points is the projected point total in this game. But here are the totals with the Raptors when they these are the other highest totals of the season. So this is what I mentioned to you guys earlier. So you guys can see if you just look here, when the Raptors are involved in a really high total, 226 or higher is what I just told you guys. This team is 0-4 against the spread, 0-4 straight up. They've lost to the Nets, the Pacers twice, the Timberwolves. I don't think the Kings take this team lightly. I know that they are coming off one of the better performances of the year against the Memphis Grizzlies the other day, but I think that they protect home. You also look at them; this is the last game of I think of a 4-game homestand for the Sacramento Kings. So let's look at the Kings real quick. Yeah, you guys can see that they've actually been covering spreads covering in general, right? This team's playing well right now. That's what 4, 5, 6, 6-2 in their last 8 games. Against the spread. And a lot of them have been at home as well. Only played 2 road games recently. This is the last game at home before they travel to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves over the weekend. So, for those reasons, I like the Kings in this spot, man. I think that the Raptors can struggle to score the ball, and if the Kings come out focused, they at any given night they can run any team out, out of the gym. So it's going to be interesting to see, how much, if they can continue to remain locked in and stay focused. I always talk about the parity in the league with teams playing well in one game and then they look like a shell of themselves in the next game because they're just not locked in, not much attention to detail, specifically on the defensive end is what I'm seeing. So I think that they try to protect home in this spot, and I like the Kings to beat the Raptors today and be able to cover a short point spread like 3.5, win the game by 2 possessions. So that's what I got for you guys. I went through four games. I gotta, I'll do a quick recap. Matter of fact, I need to make a recap banner for you guys. So quick recap. Pacers and the Magic. I'm looking at the Magic team total over 118.5. I think that the number could go up throughout the day. I mentioned the Pacers having the 22nd ranked defense over the last 5 games. Also back on the road, after getting a big home win. So definitely think that you fade them in this spot tonight. Glad that they won last night. I think the Magic can score. So Magic team total over 118.5. Nets and 76ers, Ben Simmons under 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Wizards versus Rockets. I think the Wizards should be able to cover this small number, man. I know they're a road favorite, playing on the second night of a back-to-back, but I mentioned they are 6-2 in this spot, playing on the second leg of a back-to-back, 3-0 against the spread, playing on the second leg of a back-to-back when they're on the road as well. And then the Raptors versus the Kings. Like I said, I like the Kings. I think that they should be able to cover this short number. I'm gonna just see how low it goes. 3.5 seems like good money to me. And then definitely playing Sabonis over his 13.5 rebounds. Like that line a lot. So that's the quick recap for you guys. 22 minutes in the books. Hit the like button for me if you guys can. And let me see what you guys on. Snacks at top of the morning. Mavs folded on me yesterday. Yeah, they did, man. The Mavs not playing defense right now. I think that they get it together. They just struggling right now. I think they also need Christian Wood. That's my thoughts on the game. I was on the Bulls game last night. That fourth quarter was nasty work by the Bulls. I knew that they were going to run out of gas, which is why I didn't play the Bulls, man. Second night of a back-to-back, their starters played heavy minutes against Atlanta the night before, and you got to travel, and you just came back from London. I figured their legs would catch up with them sooner or later, so I kind of stayed off everything in that game, only wanted to play the Pacers side, but I didn't take anything official. Brian said the same thing. Mavericks suck. Magic first half too. Okay, I'm on the Magic -4.5. The Kings -4. Okay, Brian, we got some alignment there. Ben Simmons unders. Yes, that's what I'm looking at. Line seems short with the Kings game. No, it is pretty short. It is. I think KC, when you think about that game, for me, what sticks out is, I looked into it. The Raptors lost at home to the Kings by 1 point earlier. I think that was one of the games where De'Aaron Fox had just came back from that hand injury when he had messed up his hand. So I think it was 123 to 122, if I'm not mistaken, KC, when they played earlier in Toronto, and now you come back home and you're laying 5. To me, the line it shows that it's strength towards the Sacramento Kings in this spot, because when they played in Toronto was actually catching 5 points in that game. Sacramento was catching 5 points in that game. They were a 5-point dog. Now you come home and the line goes all the way to 3.5. To me, that shows strength of the Sacramento Kings, and to me, it's a Sacramento number. So I'm actually glad that it's coming down, because home away typically bakes about 3 points into the line. So you would think that Sacramento, in my estimation, would be laying about 2 points in this game. So being that they're laying 3.5, to me, I think I think that they come out here and they handle business in this one today. Raptors team is a roller coaster, in my opinion. They are. They play well, they play bad. They play well, they play bad. And Mike said, hope Wendell Carter Jr. comes through, unlike Vucevic rebounds. Yeah, I couldn't take Vuce on the second leg of a back-to-back. He played 39 minutes in that game against the Hawks, so that's why I kind of stayed off. Want to keep riding Claxton train, but iffy with the Embiid matchup. Yeah, I mean, he going to be dog food tonight. Embiid going to be rested. I like Embiid tonight. Nicholas Claxton got his work cut out. He definitely got his work cut out. But he has been, that block train been cashing for Nicholas Claxton, man. Somebody gonna have to step up. I got a lot of more work to do in that game, Barstow. So I'll check it out and get back to you guys. Tap back in with me. As always, 5:15 Eastern time for the Crispy Cap and NBA show. Have a lot more things to look at. All this is preliminary, but I am gonna place these bets that I talked about. So if you joined late, I did do a quick recap at the end, but also you guys show me some support, man. Hit the like button for me, subscribe to the show, share the show, tell a friend to tell a friend. And also download the podcast as well, man. Leave me a good review over there. Appreciate you guys. Check back in with you guys at 5:15 Eastern time. Best of luck to you guys today as always. And in the show, like I always do, man. None of this is financial consultation. It's all theory and logic and query and trends. I test, NBA.com advanced stats. Bet with your head, not over it. Best of luck to you guys today.